Now, it's time to meet the players of college sports today, presented by the Allen Law Firm, and get this show started. He's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, a first-round NFL draft choice, and a member of the College Football Hall of Fame as both a player and coach. He is the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. He's a rare two-time SEC Player of the Year and spent over a decade in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Shane Matthews. And presenting the host of the show, with over 25 years of sports broadcasting experience, Terry Norvelle. Coming to you from the future Home Loan Studio inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, it's time for College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvelle. Presented by the Allen Law Firm.
And week number 4 in college football is behind us. What a weekend it was. We have a ton of games to review, and we'll take a peek ahead to week 5, which looks like it's a great schedule as well. Hi, everybody. Welcome inside the Future Home Loan Studio inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where we bring you College Sports Today, presented by Allen Law Firm. Coach Steve Spurrier is with me. Coach, hell of a week 4 yesterday, Saturday. Good games all day long. It was a good weekend.
Yeah, I thought it was. Obviously, our Gators played very well against Tennessee. Tennessee had an early lead, but Emory Jones running and passing. Defense played very well the entire game. Just about had a couple of long plays we gave up early. But, to beat them 38-14. Good win. And it's important to win big. We're watching the Ryder Cup. Everybody was, I think, yesterday. And the attitude of our guys coming in, we had a nice lead going in. Was it 11-4 or something like that? But their attitude had to be, let's see if we can't beat them the worst they've ever been beaten. In other words, everybody do your job.
Sure.
If you say, we got to protect this lead now, don't mess up, no, you're liable to get beat. So you got to approach a contest, and it was a good lesson for everything we do in life, of always maybe trying to get better.
Right.
You know, Terry, Sun Tzu, The Art of War, one of his quotes I always loved. He said, strive for big wins as often as you can. Not just regular wins. Strive for big wins, and that will demoralize your enemies. So if you can beat somebody pretty good, do it. And then you don't have to worry about something funky happening at the end of the game if you got a nice lead.
I thought it was another really good performance for the entire Florida team. Emory Jones continues to grow. Boy, he now looks like a guy that's about 21 years old, that's been in the system 4 years. He really looks he looks like when he looks to the sideline, he recognizes all the signals. He's picking up the reads. He's really progressed. Florida's defense is loaded. The Gators got to play a lot of players, too. They played a lot of players. The second half, the entire right side of the offensive line was their backups. They held out Stuart Reese. DeLance came out. Florida played a lot of players. Tennessee, I tip my hat to Josh Heupel. Tennessee looks a lot better than they have the last 5 or 6. They looked organized. They looked like they knew what they were doing. Tennessee football the last 5 years or so has looked like a Keystone Cops. Tennessee, they need to pick up the talent, but I think Heupel might be the guy. Did you agree with that with Tennessee? They looked like they kind of knew what they were doing at least.
Yeah, coming into the game, they were top 5 in run defense. So we ran the ball very well against a team that had been good that way. But they seem to have a better attitude.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure do.
He's today's modern coach. He's not the guy that yells and screams. The last coach they had, when I saw him yelling at the ball boy one day, I mean, getting in his face.
Pruitt.
Pruitt. I don't even mention his name. I said, there's something wrong with that guy. You got to be a good person nowadays. Don't be a jerk. Be a good guy to everybody. And I think Josh Heupel's that way. Dan Mullen's that way.
Sure is.
The good coaches nowadays, they can be nice people as well as good coaches.
Coach Dan Mullen, really nationally, not that he hasn't before, but he's really getting accolades all over the country now. People are looking at Dan Mullen and going, my goodness, this guy, if he has to lean heavy on the pass, he can coach up a passing attack. This year, he's leaning heavy on the run. He's coaching up a running attack. Boy, the compliments are coming from Dan Mullen. Boy, God knows what he's doing on the offensive side of the ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, last year, throwing the ball is what we did best. And Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts and all those guys, Tony, did it very well, and now mixing the run and the pass is what we got to do. I don't think you can just do one all the time, and so we're pretty 50-50 run pass.
Hell of a schedule. We'll try and get to the schedule. Take a quick peek ahead to Saturday's games, and it's on paper one of the best weeks. Week 5 looks like one of the best weeks in college football. We'll get to that. Coach, let's bounce around here this first segment. College Sports Day with Coach Steve Spurrier. Appreciate everybody watching here on a Monday. Bounce around some different teams, some good and some bad from this weekend. Boy, Arkansas, they got something cooking over there. Sam Pittman in 2 years has really turned the culture around. I feel for Texas A&M. A new quarterback got injured in the second game. They're really reeling. The backup guy's in. He's way ahead of himself. Arkansas's got something cooking. They're playing hard for Sam Pittman.
Yeah. Sam Pittman is he's a coach's coach. He's tough on them, but he loves them, and that's how you got to try to do it. All right, we're going to run after practice today, but it's for you guys. It's good for you. It's good for our team. So they all really admire and like their coach. And they got good ball players. That transfer portal has helped Arkansas. Yes. Certainly has. So I got to believe they'll be in the running for the West. Yeah. They beat A&M, I thought, pretty handedly.
Really did.
And I think they got, is it LSU this week?
No, they're at Georgia.
Oh, Georgia.
He goes back to Georgia.
That's right, at Georgia.
Remember, he was the OC for Kirby. The offensive line guy.
I think it'd be a low-scoring ball game. Yeah. It should be a good one.
He takes that physical team into Athens. High noon kickoff Saturday in Athens, East versus West. Bouncing around different teams. Boy, a disappointing loss. Second loss already for Clemson. Yeah. NC State. I've always liked this NC State team. Clemson is now out of the national picture for the first time, and gosh, they've always been around or in the playoff. What do you make of Clemson? They're really, really struggling on offense. Can't score points.
Yeah, they have been pretty sorry, really.
Yeah, really have.
I think they threw for 14 yards or something against NC State. And Uwe Ungavalele, he threw for about 400 up at Notre Dame last year when Trevor Lawrence couldn't play.
That was his game.
So everybody's wanting to say, what's the difference? And, of course, they were running the ball with ETN, and they had a really, really good offense. But I don't know. It seems like Uwe is he eyeballs every receiver he throws to.
I agree.
And then when he's open, he starts winding up. But by the time he throws that fastball, Ricky Neuheisel on his radio show, I heard it calling him. He said he can't play catch with anybody. No. He throws the ball you can't catch. Yeah. You can't catch that hard ball of him. And that's what he's doing. He's just firing. And you got to throw catchable balls. So I don't even know if Clemson has a quarterback coach. Do they?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know his name. I don't know. Tony Elliott's the
coordinator. OC, sure.
Yeah, I've never heard the quarterback's name, coach's name.
No.
They may be keeping that quiet right now. I'm not sure. But, he's throwing hard balls all over the place.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Lord knows you're the expert. I'm not. But last week on this show, and talking with Shane also, Shane Matthews, I'm not so sure DJ is the superstar we projected him to be. I think he's a little heavy-footed. I'm with you. He's got a long windup, and buddy, he's throwing the Nolan Ryan heater every time. I don't know if he's got enough touch in his game.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit right now, but Clemson could have won that thing. NC State missed the field goal at the end.
Yes.
And the NC State player made a heck of a catch on
it was beautiful.
last touchdown.
Was that beautiful?
What a catch.
Dropped it in that corner, that back corner.
Threw it down there.
Just gorgeous.
Yeah, the quarterback was looking left all the way. He said, well, I got time. I'm going to throw it down in the corner. Yeah. And the State player made a heck of a play.
Beautiful.
So, big win for those guys. All the students rushed the field.
Yeah.
The ACC allows that, which I think's okay. SEC, we don't do that.
Don't do that, no.
Yeah, can't do it in the SEC, although I think Arkansas did against Texas this year.
They did.
They won that one.
Yes, they did.
But anyway, it's every team doesn't win all the time, and but Clemson sure was preseason predicted.
I saw a stat that, what is it, the last couple of weeks, Clemson offensively, if you take away the points they just scored in overtime, right? If they got into the 20s because they scored in overtime, Clemson. They've scored 14 points the last 2 weeks in regular action. So Clemson's struggling. I don't know if you got to see much of it. I watched almost the whole game. Notre Dame, Wisconsin. I still don't know. Is Notre Dame any good? I don't know if they're any good. What is Notre Dame? They suffer a quarterback injury during the game. I don't know how good Notre Dame is, but they keep winning.
Yeah, they're 4-0.
They keep winning.
And Wisconsin is a good team. They don't score a lot of points though. So you get in a close ball game, that fourth quarter, the ball may bounce
Yeah.
against you or with you. It's been bouncing Notre Dame's way. I picked them last week. I said the luck of the Irish is going to continue.
And it came out.
Don't
That kickoff return saved them.
Don't underestimate the luck of the Irish. And Coach Doreen at NC State, they've always said they got a curse on them up there. When I got to South Carolina, that's what they told me. Said, Coach, what do you know about the Gamecock curse? I said, what? He said, oh, yeah, we found a way to lose when it looks like there's no way we can lose around here. And NC State was the same way. They thought they had a curse. And he said, we broke the curse. It's over. Don't want to hear about it anymore.
Nice.
So we'll find out if NC State is going to win every close game from now on.
A couple more teams for Coach Spurrier to kind of give his opinion on what happened over the weekend. We'll take a break. Then we're going to peek ahead to the Week 5. It is something. Also, really quick, I want to get this out. It's Gator-related. A trade. The Jacksonville Jaguars have Ian Rappaport is reporting that a trade has been in the works and pretty much is a done deal. It looks like Jacksonville, the Jaguars, will send former first-round draft pick C.J. Henderson, cornerback from Florida. C.J. Henderson and a fifth-round pick the Jaguars will send to Carolina. Carolina will send back to Jacksonville. Their starting tight end, Dan Arnold, will come to Jacksonville from Carolina. The Jaguars are struggling at the tight end position, and the Jaguars will get a third-round pick. Arnold, by the way, in 34 career games, 58 catches, 7 touchdowns. The trade, though, seems like, Coach, it's way more from Carolina's perspective. They lost their first-round cornerback this year to injury, so they need a cornerback. So they went out and got him. So C.J. Henderson goes to Carolina from Jacksonville.
Let me tell you another reason why the Jags lost yesterday. After the kid ran that kickoff back about 108 yards or something, they missed the extra point. Watch. When a team misses an extra point, they'll find a way to lose.
And he missed another one later in the game.
It's happened to a bunch of my teams, and when the other team missed, they lose also. Not only did he miss one, he missed two.
Missed two, yes, sir.
Missed two, unbelievable.
And you could feel, that incredible, the 66-yarder just short, the return, the minute the extra point was missed, you could feel the energy just.
There's something about it.
It really is.
You talk about curses, that sometimes puts a curse on a team.
Really,
if
really
your guy
does.
misses an extra point.
And they were chasing it the rest of the half. Oklahoma, third time in 4 games, Oklahoma squeaks out a win. West Virginia was driving for what looked like I don't know if you saw the end of the game. West Virginia, tied at 10, is driving, 3.5 minutes left, for what you think is either the winning touchdown or at least a field goal. West Virginia goes in the shotgun. Quarterback looks to the sideline. Center snaps the ball, goes by him for a 21-yard loss. That's why they punted, and Oklahoma scored. What do you make of Oklahoma? Spencer Rattler, all that talent. They can't score points. They're struggling. They're winning, but, Coach, their third spit-the-hook-out game. They've been in 3 tight games.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley is the offensive coordinator and head coach and calls all the plays, and he's got an excellent track record. But his quarterback, I don't think, can see the field very well. He's a little guy. He's about looks like about 5'10" or 11. I'm not sure. It looks like they got guys running open somewhere down there because he's had time. But he starts hesitating, takes off running, and every play turns into a scramble play, seems like. So I don't know what he's going to do, but Lincoln Riley, his track record is offense. And they're winning with defense right now.
They really are. So, they really are. And last year, Rattler kind of got benched. He was brand new last year. After 3 or 4 games, he got benched there for a while. And then he came back in and looked like he'd kind of figured it out. He wasn't just a sandlot scrambler, but he's back to that right now.
I'm telling you, benching helps players, and it helps quarterbacks.
How about that?
And I just think they come back better players after they hit the bench for maybe just a half. You don't have to send them the whole game. Just let them watch for a while and then go in there and try to execute the offense.
Florida State, the misery continues. Louisville jumps out, scores 31 in the first half. Florida State made a little bit of a run, but Louisville was in total control. 0-4. Syracuse is up next. Syracuse, you kind of thought was maybe a win for FSU. Syracuse went out a week ago and beat Liberty. Liberty's a pretty good football team, but I don't know if you saw much of the FSU games. The same old, same old. They just play dumb football. They hurt themselves. FSU's 0-4, and I'm telling you, Coach, that schedule, there might not be more than 2 wins on that schedule. And you may have to look hard to find those 2 wins. Tough times in Tallahassee.
Yeah, teams that don't play real efficiently, they end up losing, it seems like. Mississippi State missed a short field goal against LSU, end up losing by 3, and had some penalties and some stuff. But boy, I tell you, you got to play with very few penalties and very few turnovers and play smart, make your kicks you're supposed to, and you'll win if you've got good players and good coaches. But you got to do all the little things correctly, and then you'll be a winner.
All right. Let's move to Auburn real quick, and then talk a little bit about LSU. Duke's 3-1. Auburn, it's getting a little ugly, and I know Harson's in his first year. He's kind of resetting the program a little bit, but the student sector, Auburn got a great call to help them beat Georgia State. Probably they were the beneficiary of a bad call that went their way, Auburn. But Coach, I don't know if you're aware, the student section in Jordan-Hare Stadium, one point loudly they're chanting the backup quarterback's name, and Bo Nix is the legacy. His dad and mom are in the stadium, and he's the legacy of the great Patrick Nix. Was a great call. They're chanting T.J. Finley. He comes in and wins the game. So
he did play.
Finley came in and threw the touchdown pass and led them to the comeback win. So now Finley, what do? You've got a full quarterback controversy. They play LSU next, and that's where Finley came from. But
that's right.
Yeah, it's getting a little ugly on the plains right now.
Yeah, I tell you what, Auburn scored. I think it's a 4th down play, and he scrambled around a little bit. I think Georgia State only rushed about 3 guys, so he had a chance to juke a guy. And a guy in back of the end zone came running toward him. He hit him, and that's what won the game for him. So I tell you, there's nothing wrong with changing quarterbacks for a while. So if Auburn thinks they need to do it, they should do it.
Be interesting though. It's going to be a lot of drama because Auburn is at LSU. LSU. I know doing my Saturday morning radio show, we were talking, and LSU really needed that win at Mississippi State. The way the schedule plays out, and it's getting a little loose at LSU as well. I don't know how much LSU won it or Mississippi State gave it away. I watched most of that game. LSU needed that win, but damn, Mike Leach, the whole nation was screaming. You could hear the nation watching that game saying, when they've only got 3 men down, run the ball. He wouldn't run the ball against a 3-man front, Coach.
Yeah, everybody's been telling him that for how long has he been coaching? 20 years or something?
The announcers, Olofsky and those guys are screaming, hey, man, I didn't invent football, but they've got 3 down. Their backers are in the lane. Run the damn ball.
And they got a good running back also.
Yeah, that Mark's a pretty good ball player.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of his friends have said, why don't you just have a little tight end, a couple of tight ends, get a lineman and stick him in there at tight end and, run off tackle or do something just to run for 3 yards and things like that. But, yeah, when it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 and you got 4 wide receivers out there, you almost are better off just trying to throw the ball because you have virtually no chance. They got 7 guys up there smashing every lane. So, anyway, I guess time will tell if he's ever going to change, but I don't think he's going to change.
Now, I picked LSU, and I got the win in our Safe Harbor Seafood picks contest from this past Saturday, so I was happy. But watching that game unfold, number one, run the ball when they're giving you yardage. And, Coach, number 2, watching Mike Leach's offense, I would hate to play receiver. And let me explain why. Coach, I watched that whole game. He has so many routes where a receiver goes and button hooks or squares up, and he's flat-footed, catches the ball, and then it's target practice. They are just drilling that guy. He's flat-footed, catching the ball, facing the line of scrimmage, and LSU just kept him in front, and 3 and 4 guys just tattooed the receiver time after time after time, Coach. I'd hate to play receiver. You're getting killed.
Yeah, a lot of their pass routes, and I think everybody knows this, if it's man-to-man, they run away from their guy.
Sure.
But if it's a zone, they start running, and then they find a little open area, and the quarterback hits them. But when they play that 5 short, 3 deep, those linebackers are pretty close to each other. So you got to make some tough catches and then just protect yourself.
That's what you have to do. Telling you, those receivers, I'm thinking, I don't want to play receiver the way the routes. You're sitting there, you catch the ball, you're a sitting duck. You're not running half the time. You're flat-footed and getting tattooed. Coach, before we break and look at next week's games, Duke. Your Dukies, what are they doing? 3 and 1, heading 3 more wins and are bowl eligible.
Yeah,
Duke.
They've had a friendly schedule, as they call it.
Still got to win them, though.
Yeah, but they beat Kansas and Northwestern, and that's who they should play. They should play Vandy and Northwestern. When I was there, we played those guys, I think, most every year. You know, the academic schools of the Big Ten, the SEC, and the ACC. So we called ourselves the academic champs anyway when we beat both those guys. But, they've regrouped. They played North Carolina this week, and the Tar Heels are struggling.
They are struggling.
They've lost 2 now, and their hopes of being a big-time champ and all that, I don't know if it's still there or not. Maybe if they win the rest of their conference games, they can get to the ACC championship game.
Georgia Tech roughed up North Carolina. Georgia Tech over the weekend roughed North Carolina up. The score was not as close as the blowout. Tech got away from them. Let's take a break. Coach Spurrier will hang around one more quick second. We just want to kind of peek ahead. Week 5 is incredible. It's almost like, at the Masters, they say Saturday is moving day. You got to kind of, to win the Masters, they say you got to get positioned on Saturday to go into Sunday. We're starting that positioning right now. October starts this Saturday. The big boys are going to rise to the top and position to have a big year. We'll look at that schedule on the other side. Thank you to all of our sponsors, including our title sponsor, Allen Law Firm. You can reach those good folks very easily with your phone. Pound YES gets you right to an expert at Allen Law Firm. If you've been in an accident or been injured, they'll be happy to give you advice and speak with you about your situation. Also want to thank Future Home Loans. We're inside the Future Home Loans studio inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We're going to take a quick break, and you'll see all of our wonderful sponsors that make this show happen. Come back. We're talking ball with Coach Spurrier on the other side.
Ever heard the saying, all politics are local? I believe the same goes for lawyers. To me, it doesn't matter how many lawyers any firm has spread across the country. What matters is who's the lawyer right here, right now. I'm Bill Allen. I've spent my whole career fighting big insurance companies for my friends and neighbors right here in North Central Florida. If you've been hurt and don't know who to trust, I would be honored to help you and your family against any opponent, anytime, anywhere. Call me 24/7.
Taste the islands and every drop of Vida de Luis tequila, 100% blue agave from Tequila, Mexico. Good vibes. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
It's time to thank the sponsors that make college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvelle possible. Vida de Luis Tequila, the official tequila of college sports today. Make sure you ask for Vida de Luis Tequila by name in your favorite bars and restaurants throughout the state of Florida, and of course, with your next margarita inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar Neptune Beach. The official seafood restaurants of college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvelle can be found up and down the northeast Florida coast. Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar Neptune Beach. The proud seafood sponsors of college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvelle. J.B. Coxwell Contracting, established in 1983 and offering complete site development. Go with the company generally considered the most well-respected heavy civil construction firm in Northeast Florida. Go with J.B. Coxwell Construction. For advertising information to get your business on college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvelle, simply shoot me an email, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com. Again,
shoot me, Terry Norvelle, an email, and I'll get back with you. That email address again, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com.
Hey, thanks once again to all the sponsors you saw a moment ago, Vita de Louis and Sliders Oyster Bar, renovating. They'll be open. They're going to absolutely renovate the place in a few weeks. It'll be wide open. You know about Safe Harbor Seafood, the 2 locations, JB Coxwell Contracting, and our big sponsors, obviously Allen Law Firm and Future Home Loans. Future Home Loans, by the way, over 2,000 5-star reviews. I mean, that just doesn't happen. If you're in the market or think you're about to get in the market for a home purchase, the first thing you need to do is contact Future Home Loans. Coach Spurrier, hang around another 10 minutes or so. Coach, before we look at a peek ahead to Saturday's games, and they're incredible, you had a special night. Big Gator win over Tennessee. You're in the stadium, and you had 2 of your former teams recognized. Talk about how the 95-96 recognition went.
Yeah, Terry, it was neat that I had a chance between first and second quarter to grab the microphone and let the fans know 25, 26 years ago, we had 2 of the greatest teams in school history. So I proceeded to tell them all the records that they had set. The 95 team was the first one to go undefeated throughout the regular season. Only one other team's done that, 115 years, and that was our 09 team. And then the 96 team, of course, won all 4 SECs and the national.
Hard to do, man.
So that group of guys, and a lot of the same guys played on both teams, 95, 96. They walked out of here with 5 rings, 4 SECs and a national. So that was pretty neat, and they got a nice ovation from the crowd, and people sort of realized, man, that don't happen every day. Winning all the SEC games has only happened 3 times in 88 years.
Yeah.
All right, 91 team did it also. So these guys were really special, and they deserve all the credit and so forth. And
pretty good quarterback on those 2 teams.
Danny Warfel was quarterback on both those teams,
Yeah.
and the Heisman Trophy, and he was the key guy. You know, there's a reason Tampa Bay won last year, and it's called the quarterback, and that's the reason we won as much as we did in the 90s. Quarterback Danny Warfel, Shane Matthews, Terry Dean had some good games, and then Jesse Palmer, Rex Grossman. Doug Johnson had some real good games. So you got to have that guy.
Yeah. How was the turnout? You know, obviously guys scattered all over the country now, and they're family men and married and a lot of stuff going on. How was the turnout? Did a lot of the guys make it back?
It was decent.
It's hard. Everybody's scattered around.
Well, a lot of guys are involved in high school football.
Coaching.
And Chris Doring does his TV with the SEC and all that.
And some of those guys are on college staffs.
But James
Robert
Bates,
Gillespie and guys like that, and coaching, you know?
Yeah, Bates said he's taking a week off from his television duties, and he came to it. So,
nice.
Yeah, we had a decent crowd. I wish, I can read down some of those guys could have come. And then, of course, Fred Taylor does radio for the Jags and all that.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are busy doing some things. But and what was interesting, Jason Odom's here, and we redshirted almost the whole 92 recruiting class. Danny Warfel was redshirted, Donnie Young, all those linemen, Jeff Mitchell and so forth. And Jason Odom said, yeah, Coach, I wish I'd been redshirted. But he had to go play.
Yes.
We had to play 2 freshmen in the offensive line.
How about that? At tackle.
92.
Right? At 2 tackle positions.
Yeah, Reggie Green, Jason Odom.
Wow.
We were hoping to redshirt Jason. And after the second game, I said, Jason, you got to come play, pal. We can't just sacrifice this year. So he went to an instant starter as a true freshman and played extremely well.
I mean, just to put some perspective on that, it's so hard to play those positions that young in your career. Texas A&M, obviously, right out of the gate, they lose their starting quarterback, so they're sideways. In that Arkansas game Saturday, they had, I want to say, for the bulk of the game, they were playing 3 freshmen due to injuries, including a freshman center. Boy, that is tough to go play on the line, as Odom and Green did way back then, against those great pass rushers in the SEC as a 18-and-a-half, 19-year-old true freshman. Hard to do, and they had to.
Yeah, I tell you what, we used to think, man, you got to have 2 quarterbacks in case one gets hurt. It's hard to tell a kid, hey, you're going to be the backup and only play if he gets hurt. But when Danny Warfel played here, Eric Kresser played behind him for 3 years. And then Eric said, Coach, I need to go play somewhere. I said, I understand. So he went to Marshall, and they won the national championship of their division.
Yes, they did. And he threw it all over the ballpark. Randy Moss and those guys.
He had a wonderful year. He played 4 or 5 years NFL. But then he was able to come to New Orleans and watch all of his teammates win the national championship for us. So he got 2 of them.
How about that, Coach? Let's take a quick look. We'll do this deeply on Friday, but Coach, I just wanted to make sure people realize what the schedule looks like. We got big time games. How about Friday night? You've got undefeated Iowa they are in the Big Ten West. They're taking on undefeated Maryland. Maryland's 4-0 in the East. I mean, the winner of that game Friday is off to a good start in the Big Ten. Arkansas and Georgia, high noon in Athens, Coach. That's you got to see what Arkansas can do. Can they hang around with Georgia? I mean, a good one.
I think they can. I think it'll be another one of those low-scoring games like Georgia, Clemson. And but Arkansas is tough. Yeah, they play with a lot of effort.
Yeah, they do play hard.
And they're capable. They're capable of doing big things this year.
I think we'll know a lot about Notre Dame. 2:30 NBC. Notre Dame hosts Cincinnati. This is a game Cincinnati has circled. Cincinnati wants to tell the world, hey, group of 5, but we can play with the big boys. We're going to know a lot about these two teams after this game, right?
Yeah, if Cincinnati gets a break or two and the refereeing is even, I think Cincinnati's got a real good chance.
Same here. The 3:30 CBS game. Now, these are all this weekend coming up. These are great. Ole Miss at Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Ole Miss scored 1 million on them last year. They just couldn't slow Alabama down. Ole Miss thinks they've bolstered their defense, and they've still got all those offensive weapons. That's your CBS 3:30. Ole Miss, Bama. Early thoughts on that one?
Yeah. Well, if Lane Kiffin can be the first assistant coach under Saban to beat him, it's taken about 15 years of all that going on. So anyway, I think Ole Miss does have a chance. They got to play really well. Yeah. But they can move the ball. They can throw it. They can score. They just got to make sure they don't have crucial turnovers and this, that, and the other. And their defense has got to get Alabama off the field. Sure. And make them punt 4 or 5 times.
Sure. 6 p.m. Eastern. It will be a snake pit. We're not picking them today. We're just going over the schedule coming up on this coming weekend. It's unbelievable. Kentucky 4-0. They hadn't played great. They scuffled around a little bit over South Carolina the other night, Saturday night. But Kentucky at home 4-0. Florida comes in. That's going to be a war. That's going to be a tough ball game.
Yeah, it's usually tough up there, but I think we got the firepower to get after Kentucky, and we'll be ready. I think this is a team that doesn't want to get caught not being ready to play. And Kentucky, they score 16 against South Carolina?
Yeah, 116-10, yeah.
So
scuffled around a little bit.
Yeah, and they scuffled around against Chattanooga.
They scuffled around against Chattanooga's right.
We'll be favored. We'll be favored, but we got to go play well. If we do that, I think our chances are good.
How good is the weekend coming up on paper anyway? In terms of SEC football games, this next one would be the 4th-rated game on paper. Auburn is at LSU. LSU, a big win. They needed to get that win. They got it. Auburn stole one. They've got a quarterback issue. Auburn at LSU, both teams need a win bad. Somebody's going to come out of there really struggling with a loss.
Well, LSU probably needs it more than Auburn.
Probably.
Auburn's coach. First-year guy.
He's fine,
so he'll be all right for a while. But, I think LSU is a little more solid right now with the quarterback controversy at Auburn and so forth. But it should be a heck of a game.
We'll talk about this a little bit later on Friday. But that Max Johnson, I know Shane really fell in love with Max Johnson, the lefty at LSU last year. He's a guy, I watched this guy, Coach. And at the end of every game I've watched Max Johnson at LSU, they'll flash his stats, and it'll be 300 yards passing and and I'll go, I didn't see 300 yards passing, but he'll pile up 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. He's not athletic, but he slides around that, but you never can quite get a hold of him. He's just a college quarterback. You know?
Yeah, he's a pretty good, decent player. Mac Jones at Alabama, he didn't run much up the field. But he could slide around in the pocket and get it off, things like that. Yeah. So, that should be a heck of a game.
Mississippi State never could get a hit on him Saturday. He just slid around, that little lefty for LSU, just slid around. A game that turns out to be a big game in the ACC, Louisville. I think Louisville's pretty good. Remember, they lost their first game and people wrote them off. They lost to a pretty good Ole Miss team, I think. Ole Miss beat them in the opener on Labor Day night. Louisville is at Wake Forest. Wake Forest undefeated. Wake Forest may be the best team in the ACC. It's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, I like their coach there, Coach Clawson. And it's at Wake Forest?
It is at Wake Forest, yes, sir.
I think I would go with the home team on that one, but Louisville's good also.
SEC game, two teams need a win to stay kind of in relevance. Tennessee at Missouri. Both teams kind of to stay relevant. Somebody needs that win. That's going to be a good one. Mississippi State is at Texas A&M. That's a game Mississippi State can win. I think A&M really the wind came out of their sails. Arkansas beat them up. Another game in the ACC. I never would have thought Clemson's going to have their hands full. Boston College at Clemson. Boston College is undefeated. They're playing good ball. They beat Missouri in a wild overtime game. BC's got a real chance at Clemson.
I think so. If they, it'd probably be a close game.
You would think. Low scoring, yeah.
If they can make a play or two, I think they got a good chance to beat Clemson.
Yeah.
In fact, I think about every good team, Clemson's just at a level with most of the ACC teams.
I agree. They have really come back. Baylor is at Oklahoma State. I'll bring this up. The Big 12 has 3 undefeated teams: Baylor, Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma. They're all about to start playing. And finally, Coach, Syracuse. They're 3-1. They haven't played a conference game. Syracuse goes into Tallahassee. I kind of thought 3 weeks ago out of the Notre Dame game, okay, there's a game FSU will win. Now Syracuse, I'm not so sure. Syracuse beat Liberty the other day. FSU's reeling at 0-4 and not a lot of winnable games on the schedule.
Yeah, tough. They've played sort of the out-of-conference teams. But you would think the way they played against Notre Dame, I watched that and I said, man, they got a good-looking ball team, athletes at every position and this, that, and the other. But losing to, I think, Jacksonville State, that hurt them. And really bad. I don't know if they've shook it off yet. We'll find out.
All right, we'll get out of here. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the show here and not go to a final segment and get Coach out of here. Did we, help me out, my Alzheimer's kicking in, did we talk about the Ryder Cup?
We talked briefly.
Yeah. That was a nice win for the Americans, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very good win for us. And Dustin Johnson, Dustin's from right outside of Columbia there, Lexington, South Carolina. So I met him once or twice, but he went 5-0.
I know.
5-0, and the last guy to do that was Larry Nelson in 1979. There's only about 5 guys in history that have done that.
It's hard to do, isn't it?
Arnold Palmer was one of them. So, that'll go in the record books. And Dustin, he put that on his resume for the rest of his life. That's very neat to do that.
United States, just the U.S. golf fan, we needed that win. We needed that butt whooping that we put on those guys. They've been, the last 20 years, they've been kind of handling, the Europeans have been handling that Ryder Cup, and we took it for granted for years. Remember, U.S. just won it year after year, decade after decade, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and then Europe started taking it from us. Yeah. And they've whooped our butts quite a bit. That was a nice whooping. We needed that. We really needed that.
To get us going. Yeah. The Ryder Cup picked up steam when they started allowing not just the guys from England and Ireland, but the Europeans, the Euros. And Seve Ballesteros brought life to it. Seve was
a competitor.
Team leader, competitor, hated losing.
Yes.
And there's a lot of guys that are the same. So it was neat. What's sort of funny to me, I don't know if the fans out there watched it, but an hour or so after it's over, they interview the whole team. And most of them up there drinking beer, and they're celebrating. And so it's the only time in sports I know that a guy's drinking a beer and having an interview after winning a big contest. So I thought that was sort of neat listening to the guys talk about it, and certainly a happy bunch of golfers.
Sounds good. Coach, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. We'll all be back on Friday. We'll get our picks out on Friday. It's going to be, get ready, start studying up. There are some good games, some tough picks coming up on Friday for our Safe Harbor Seafood picks of the week. That'll wrap it up. I want to thank, of course, Evan Miller, who produces all these shows and makes it happen. Thank you very much to Evan, all of our people watching and listening, Aaron and Danny Jack and Alexander and Deanna from Safe Harbor. We didn't get a lot of our comments. Scott, want to say hi to all these people that follow and all the podcast listeners. We appreciate you following College Sports Today. We will get back at it 11 a.m. Friday for the next edition of College Sports Today.